I came here this morning not as a journalist, which I am by profession, or a media scientist, what I studied, but I came here as a citizen. I came here as a citizen who wants to take part in democracy and who believes in our shared values in a democratic state. So that is why I'm here. And I'm here because I want to be able to take part in the democratic conversation that we all have. And I don't want anyone else to decide what the rules for that democratic conversation are. And that is also why we started Safe Social. We started it only in January. My first email I sent off was on January the 3rd, and we kicked off the campaign a month later. And in the meantime, we had gathered around 100 supporters from all different kinds of walks of life and parts of society, from musicians. Some Germans might know Jan Delay, for example, Rocco Schamoni here in Hamburg, but also writers. Nina George is a writer who's, I think, also translated into other languages. And with these 100 people, we have written a manifesto of 10 central goals that we kicked off on February the 3rd. And within a month, we had 250,000 supporters, and we're still going strong, which showed us that we were not alone. So it was really, it wasn't something, I don't know if you do things, sometimes you have the feeling that you have to push all the time in order to make it work at least a little bit. Well, this kind of flew, so it kind of took off and flew. And 250,000 people said, we are citizens, we are not technology guys who, or girls who are able to create the technological space that we lead a democratic conversation in, but we have certain expectations with regard to that space. And these expectations we put into 10 main goals, and these goals are separated into 2 packs. One pack is called Ensuring Freedom of Expression. We didn't call it Regulating Big Tech, because we didn't want to fall for their narrative that everything that is ensuring freedom of expression is by their definition censorship. So we tried to call it Ensuring Freedom of Expression. And you can read up the goals if you want to. It's about creating diversity and transparency. It's about market share limits for big tech companies. It's about separating the channel from the content and all that we've talked about so often. We expect open standards, interoperability. We want to enable visibility for all our content and for the content of communities by a non-discrimination of outlinks. You know that if you post something somewhere now, you read link is in bio because you're not allowed to post it there. And then there are people who say, well, if you post something on LinkedIn, you put the link into your commentary and you only post it 10 minutes later and all that stuff. It's discrimination of outlinks, and we think that regulation should end that because it is discriminating everything that is outside the big tech silos. We suggest independent oversight for big tech platforms, and that is possibly the thing that we need to discuss about the most. We do say that everyone who earns a lot of money with content and who distorts the democratic debate with algorithms that I can't control, with black box algorithms, has to take responsibility as well. I know that the no liability privilege is also kind of a growing cell for everything that's happening on the internet, so I think we have to talk about what a good way could be. That is part 1, 5 goals for ensuring freedom of expression. It's coming with regulating big tech. And the other 5 goals are about strengthening alternative platforms. We demand that everything that is produced with public money, For example, content of a public service broadcaster, or something that your government or your local government puts out. That everything that is financed with public money has to be put out on open platforms. We demand that these alternatives are also strengthened structurally. For example, by investing as much money into an alternative infrastructure than public service broadcasters in Germany invest nowadays in publishing on big tech platforms. And it's not only about the public service broadcaster. We would also say it's about libraries, it's about institutions, government, and all that. So they have to invest in order to strengthen the alternatives. We also need to invest in the development and usability of alternatives. You are thinking a lot about that here as well. And we enable services that benefit from a commitment to the common good. You know that Mastodon lost its status of Gemeinnützigkeit in Jena, which is really sad, and due to the German tax system. And we demand that there is a possibility to fund public infrastructure for the common good and to be accepted as gemeinnützig, or as for the common good, so to be able to deduct it from your tax. And we improve media education, meaning that we expect schools not to use the finished, ready-made iPad or Google tablet, but to talk about OS systems, to talk about how can we moderate our own debate by maybe setting up their own servers instead of learning how to publish on Instagram. But media education is much more than just talking to kids. I think it's more about talking to me and parents and other people, because we set the examples as well. So these are the two sets of demands that 250,000 people in Germany shared. And coming here today, I want to say our main goal with regard to strengthening alternative platforms is open protocols governed and developed by a society, by us. We think that a decentralized structure is a resilient infrastructure, but we are technology open. So we don't say it's that protocol or it's that protocol, because I'm just a citizen, I don't know. So I think we have to kind of start the debate about what is best and what works best. And I believe that even if there are some people in the Fediverse who say ActivityPub is the non plus ultra and Blue Sky is still not billionaire proof, we have common goals, and I think we have to kind of share in common goals and cooperate in order to kind of create an open web that works for us. We have handed over our petition to politicians in Berlin already, and though we only had a very short time scope in order to reach the coalition talks in Berlin, we were able to place at least a little bit in the coalition treaty. For example, the non-discrimination of outlinks. The word open protocol is in the treaty as well, and I hope that we'll be able to lobby a little more for that goal. I also want to ask you to support us in the Safe Social Day on May the 3rd. We will ask everyone not to publish on big tech platforms on that day. It is by coincidence also the International Day of Press Freedom, so I think it is a good day to try that out. And what we are also looking at and into is, can we create a structure that makes safe social more than just a loose connection between people? And we're also talking about taking our petition Europe-wide, because we met a lot of people from other countries and institutions from other countries. And as we have to lobby the European Union as well, we might kick off the petition again in 5 or 6 languages with another petition platform that is cooperating with our petition platform in order to kind of gather a little more momentum. And I'm happy to be here, and I'm grateful for the organizers and for inviting me. And I'm also very happy to chat over a beer. If you have any ideas how we can take this further, and what we can do in order to save the democratic force of social media, I'm more than grateful. Thanks. Stage is still mine. No, there he is.
I was looking for a microphone, but I'll just talk very loudly. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you have 1 second for a talk.
Even two.
Yeah, of course. Like, what are beyond? How do you? Can you talk a little bit more about deciding where? It's not only like putting in the contrast of like big tech bad, like to put it very like negatively, but how do you move this campaign forward to building also new stuff? Do you even want the campaign to be the direction, or do you?
We don't know yet. It really depends on if we manage to build a structure that enables us to act. So far we are only demanding that we as society, that politicians invest in open web, in open protocols and platforms. If we manage to build a structure for that, I think there would be different things that we would have to do, and lobbying and education is one. I think the second bit would be exploration in order to find out better how we can make platforms like Mastodon, like Blue Sky more accessible, more attractive to a wider audience, how we can enable monetization, which I think is really important for content creators, as well as all the cafes out there. All that stuff, how can we kind of become better with regard to governance. So exploration would be one part that we would kind of work on, and the second part would be experimentation. I mean, try out with communities, be it locally, be it with kind of connected by common interest, how would a server work? We have a lot of people in our network who kind of want to come over, and we have some who already came over and logged into Mastodon and found the empty feed and said, what's that, where are you, what's happening here, I don't understand it. So I think we would kind of need to just try out what works well and work with the Mastodon people, work with you guys, and find out how can we make it more accessible, more attractive, and how can we gather momentum in order to attract more people. I think in the end, it needs to be an alternative that is there if people look for one. And that they kind of find. So that would be kind of our scope, like lobbying, education, exploration, experimentation. And depending on if we find someone who supports us, we could do that on a small scale or on a big scale.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Okay, thank you.